Stacy, are you with us today?
I am.
I'd like to welcome you here. And as you know, we're going to talk about some customer support updates with Fiscal. I'd like to start by asking you about the support we offer for month-end and year-end close activities, given that we are coming up on the end of the fiscal year. I know we aren't visiting departments in person due to health concerns. Can you explain what we are doing?
Well, absolutely. So thank you for having me. So due to our shelter-in-place order, our current work situation is just a little bit modified. Our SMEs are still available to help users for month-end and year-end support, but we're using teleconferencing methods to meet this need, similar to what we're using here. The BOSD experts are continuing to collaborate with the Department of Finance and, of course, the State Controller's Office, and our team members can still examine reports and queries and interpret errors to resolve the incidents remotely.
And what about user support labs?
Yes, there's been a lot of questions about that, but I'm happy to report that we're still running our USLs every day as needed, even under our current work situation. All you got to do is make an appointment, and we will have and bring your and have your individualized work on hand. And then our SMEs are going to work with you through the teleconferencing to help with your transactions. We are getting really positive feedback right now, and we're finding that departments that use this method are usually closing out 1 or more months in a single session, even while we're doing this all online.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, I know in the past there's been support on the weekends. Are we still doing that?
We are. So starting July to mid-September, when departments are working overtime to close the year-end books, we're going to be right there along with you. And our experts are going to be working on Saturdays to help you guys get it done. What I'd like to ask is, if you do plan on working over the weekend, if you could reach out to your relations coordinator and let them know, so then they could be in communications with the BOSD SMEs and be aware and to expect any phone calls from you and be better prepared.
Right. It's always good for them to know how many departments are working ahead of time.
I agree.
Yeah. What's the process if a department needs help from Fiscal staff with month-end closing?
So we have this really cool thing going on right now. We have a Mek Ticket Express Lane. So I kind of think about it as the Caltrans Express Lane when you're going over the Bay Bridge. So this is where Fiscal Service Center resolves issues that are preventing departments from closing out their months. And then we're also using Accenture resources to help us manage that queue as well.
Good. That brings up automation, which obviously it's a good thing, and sometimes we have trouble with it, like we're having today with my camera, but otherwise it's a good thing. But what tools are available in the Fiscal system to help users close their books?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that, Jim, because we have a number of really, really great tools that users can use through this Mek process. One of them is the Mek Automation Tool that does exactly what it sounds like. It automates month-end close and streamlines the process so the departments can send an automated email request to the State Controller's Office. So you don't even need to go through FSC. And then once you send it to the FSC to request the months to have their periods closed, like I said, there's no need for a ticket through the FSC. So it's like an express lane from the department directly to SCO to close the periods.
I like that, express lane. I like that.
Yeah.
How about giving us some info on the self-reporting tool?
Sure. We've got BOSD. So this is kind of really cool. So we've had BOSD SMEs work with our system integrators to develop a self-reporting tool that is also available whenever users are logged into the system. This tool displays the steps for closing months and shows the queries and reports that are required to close months. And so this is something that we heard from departments that they want more access to run queries and reports to show what their month end looks like real time. And so this tool is allowing that specifically for month end close. And then of course, job aids are updated related to this and available for closing tickets as well. This self-reporting tool is really just like a one-stop how-to online manual for month-end closing. And I just also want to add that Fiscal is also working with finance and the SEO to coordinate support and reporting for those department users as well.
That's good information. You know, I know a lot of the times it seems like closing the books is all we deal with, but users certainly have other things on their minds and other jobs to do as well. I understand that we have a number of self-service tools and features that customers can use for a variety of other tasks.
Yeah, we've come a long way in this area. I think for those of you who were probably here for pre-wave or wave 1 or even wave 2, that they had to, reach out to Fiscal to resolve certain things like resetting passwords or logins or role changes. And so Fiscal's made a concerted effort to make this more user-friendly. And so resetting passwords instantly from the system page, making role requests and initiating and tracking tickets are just some of the things users can do on their own.
Good. So tickets, you say that we can do it on our own. How do they initiate tickets without calling into the FSC or sending an email? I know you sort of briefly touched on that, but elaborate if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have an automated service request, which is located in the ServiceNow portal. Users can create Service Center requests from right in the system, which guides them through the process of what they need to do. This portal allows and also displays open tickets and requests and includes a searchable database of how-to information and solutions to common issues. So, if a department wants to know how many outstanding tickets they have, they can log into this and see exactly how many tickets they're at, where their status is at, and just real-time information of where the ticket is at and how it's being worked.
Right. I know a lot of departments that I deal with are using this, and they find it to be very helpful.
Right, right.
Another item we get calls about a lot and try to get our departments to use the tools too for this are role changes. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I think the days are gone where we open tickets up and we have to wait to get role changes, and especially when there's a PO that needs to be approved, and it was really wasn't really meeting our department's customers' needs. And so what we did is we've created this portal, and so how that works is we have our DADs, which is better known as departmental authorities or designees, known as DADs. They can use this automated identity self-service portal for all role changes. And the process is pretty intuitive, and it's very quick.
Yeah, I know. I've had some good comments about that as well.
Right.
I would also like to let people know that if you have any questions for Stacy, go ahead and send those in now, and we'll get to those. Anything else we should mention regarding online tools?
I do. I want to briefly mention another great tool we've developed called the Operational Insights Dashboard. It's really quite a powerful tool, and it lets end users filter and analyze their departmental transactions. This tool helps departments determine what tasks remain to be completed before they can reconcile and close their periods. And this is an instrumental tool, especially as we go into Mek and YEC season, that they can see their transactions and see where things are held up, and really a way to manage their staffing needs and just overall working needs for the teams.
Great. Well, what about how are we using artificial intelligence and other advanced technologies to enhance the Fiscal system?
Yeah, this has really exploded at Fiscal, the artificial intelligence. We've been working to implement a business intelligence tool in order to upgrade analytics and visualization tools to help departments create mission-critical reports and improve their system performance. Our teams are also reporting with RPA, which means robotic process automation, and artificial intelligence to automate repetitive production tasks and streamline business processes and boost productivity. And I just think this one is a real game changer for all the departments, to really be able to see these reports, because we've heard from town halls and forums and our all of our outreach events. We've heard from all of our end users throughout the state that they want something like this. And so, I'm really proud of the staff at Fiscal for providing this tool to our end users, because I really do think it's a game changer.
Yeah. And, I also know that we're always trying to teach system users the best way to do their job so things become easier over time. Everything that you're talking about now certainly is pointing in that direction. Some of our customers probably don't realize all the learning opportunities that Fiscal offers. Let's go over some of them. How about,
sure.
Let's start with job aids, because we hear a lot about job aids, and I know people are always interested in them.
Yes. I think being a Fiscal end user is just a constant learning. It's always evolving. And so with that, we got to keep up by updating job aids, right? And so I don't know if you know this, Jim, but we have over 500 different job aids as of now. And they're all located online, and they're all step-by-step instructions for pretty much all the common transactions, everything from how to initiate a purchase order to closing vouchers. Also, users can subscribe to receive job aids on specific topics when new or updated versions are released. We got some feedback that end users didn't know when some of the job aids were updated or not, so this was meeting the needs of the end users. So, we do listen to all of our end users through all the surveys that we put out, all the forums and town halls that we have. We really do listen to what they say and bring it back and try to implement it. I should also mention that there are simple help tools when users are logged into the system. They can simply access the help link, and there's a button that says do it, and you can find specific content information for that.
Right, and so everything we're basically talking about is on the Fiscal website.
Yes.
And the other thing that we talk about a lot too with the job aids is how they can be used to create a department's own, desktop manual, so that everything in the job aids, as someone is using them and going through them, they can basically tailor that job aid and create a manual, obviously, to make it easier to work in the system.
That's a really, really good point, because when we're onboarding departments, and I'm sure some of those departments out there listening probably could recall when we had some of our touch point meetings that, we talked about business processes and the need to document those business processes. And, departments struggled with creating business processes because they were learning their to-be processes. So it was hard to document what the new process is going to be as they learn it. And so we've always encouraged departments to use those job aids, like to your point, as a manual, at least a starting off point, and download those job aids, make those your manuals, and then customize those as you develop your own internal processes, your own to-be processes. And I still encourage everybody to do that, that it's always helpful to have a business process for everybody to be on the same page, but also when there's challenges from a department perspective and they need subject matter experts input, if we can get to that business process and understand your business process, we can identify what the problem is a little bit more quicker.
Right, and plus, if you have a manual in place, if you forget how to do something, you can go right to it. You don't necessarily have to start all over again and try to figure out where to go, what to do. If you have that information in front of you or next to you, what have you, then that certainly speeds up the entire process. And go ahead.
No, it's okay. And like by just being on the subscriber to get the job aid updates, that's helpful as well, because that's basically telling you, okay, it's time to revise this particular job aid, and you just download it, pull the old one out, put the new one in. So it's really, I feel like, Fiscal's made it very easy for departments to create their manuals, or at least a tool to help them create their manuals for their business processes.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about tutorials.
Okay, let's do it. So Fiscal publishes how-to videos on YouTube. I think I've seen you on a couple of those YouTubes and
Yeah, I've seen you on some as well.
Exactly. So some of those YouTubes and videos, they address common issues and frequently asked questions. And, you know, of course, let's not forget the University of Fiscal webpage, which offers tutorials on various business transactions as well.
Right, and it's a good time for us to plug ourselves here. Fiscal TV is also a great source of information.
Yeah, I've been really impressed on not only the production of our Fiscal TV site, you know, all the team that's involved in doing it on our end, but also just how it's been received through all our end users. You know, we've got quite a bit of people who log on when we have these Fiscal TVs, and clearly there's an appetite and desire to hear more about Fiscal, to be in more direct contact with the subject matter experts, you know, that provide demos and tips and tricks, and just go over all the tools that were talked about. And it also just kind of you get more of a better understanding as you talk to those people at Fiscal in those particular areas that we're focusing on for that episode.
And I know that we're going to be talking about FizzBot on today's program. You want to take a stab at describing the value of FizzBot?
I will. Is FizzBot a girl or a boy?
It's a bot.
It's a bot. Excellent answer.
Yes.
Yes. So I know that users can interact with the chatbot to receive answers to common questions and be directed to complete tasks in an increasing number of modules. From what I hear, this bot can serve as a portal to almost any function in the Fiscal system.
And it's, as we're going to learn here in just a little while, it's getting better all the time, which is a great thing. You know, thank you very much. That was a pretty comprehensive look at the tools and the support that we can offer and help system users. As always, thanks for providing an overview on all the ways we offer support. And I'm sure everyone listening is glad to hear about everything that we can offer. Now, we just want to remind everybody to take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of things out there. And if you are unclear of what resources, where to find it, you definitely, like I said, could look on the website, but you can always reach out to your relations coordinator. They will be able to guide you into the right direction, get you in contact with the right subject matter expert. They're just I consider them your one-stop shop for Fiscal to help you. They're like your personal shopper.
And nothing wrong with having one of those.
No.
Thanks again for joining us, and we appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Now, let's move on to FizzBot. And joining us today is Brett Millett. Brett is the FizzBot project manager. He helped bridge the technical and organizational gap between ITD developers and BOSD FSC subject matter experts. And Brett, that sentence was a mouthful. Do you want to just try to break it down a little bit more, what you do?
Oh, well, thanks, Jim. I'm happy to be on the program and talking with you today. That sentence summed it all up pretty good. I am the lucky guy that gets to work with an amazing team of subject matter experts and also with the application developers and helping them to work together as we build out FizzBot.
All right, and I know we have a demo here, but I'd like to let everybody know that's tuned in that if you phoned in for audio, you'll not be able to hear the audio of the demo. We sent an update out yesterday, I believe, to encourage users to use their computer to connect to the WebEx phone application. So hopefully you've done that, and let's take a look at the demo.
So to access FizzBot, there is an icon in the upper right-hand corner once you've logged into the Fiscal application. Zooming in, it's there in the upper right-hand corner. Clicking on that opens up a new window one feature of that, depending on whether you're using Chrome or IE Explorer, it may behave slightly differently. This is Explorer, and you can make that its own window, should you like to work that way. Some may prefer to use it like that. I'm going to go ahead and return it and just have that be our full screen. So we wanted to introduce some of the new modules that we're now supporting since we last had a demonstration on FizzBot. The most recent is customer contracts, but also recently grants management, and depending on how recently you've looked, accounts receivable and billing, we now support, along with accounts payable and purchasing. Each of them is structured similarly in that there's a hierarchy of content beneath them. So just looking at our most recent addition, customer contracts, this CA module, by selecting customer contracts, that opens up choices, and we're trying here to help the user be able to navigate to find answers that they are seeking. And so inside of customer contracts, we have again customer contracts, billing, query, and reports related to customer contracts, issues and errors, and job aids. You'll see similar groups in all of the modules. Just clicked on grants management. You can see that there are objects inside of grants management related to proposals, awards, billings. There are reports, issues and errors, and job aids, and then a section on facilities and administration. Coming back to customer contracts, I've clicked one level deeper into that, focusing on the creation of customer contracts. Again, we haven't even we're not showing a response yet, just options at that level. In this case, to create customer contracts, or approve, or amend, or add, update. And it's not until you get to further depth before you'll even see a response. Here we've broken down creating customer contracts into the different types that can be, or the different types that can be created. Finally, once having broken down the topic far enough, does a response display the steps. In this case, these would be the steps on how to create a customer contract with an amount-based line. Each step is, prior to the steps, you'll find always the role that can perform this step. We'll start with how to navigate to begin the steps, and then proceed through the steps that would complete that particular action. Able to scroll back and up, back to the very beginning of my the very top level, through the different queries that I've done in this session. If I ever lose track or just want to start over and maybe I'm way down at the end, I can simply refresh the screen. If I go for a period of 5 minutes without interacting with Fizzbot, the connection is severed. And to restore that, then I simply refresh the screen. So what we have once the response has displayed, with some responses, you'll see at the very bottom, there are times where you'll see where it says related topic. And related topics would be items that are not in the direct hierarchy of the subject, but are somewhat related. This particular one had to do with, how to run the CA process as incurred billing for a rate-based line. These are related topics to that. CA billing, finalize and print invoices, or GM billing, run GM letter of credit. Those aren't in the direct hierarchy, but they're related. So is a way to jump around in Fizzbot to related topics that we're aware of. Another feature, within each module, you're able to select the job aids within that module and jump straight to them within Fizzbot. Here for customer contracts, there are 2 job aids that that are related to customer contracts. There's several ways from Fizzbot that you can access a job aid. This is one way where you go to the list of all the job aids for that module. We'll also have them included when they apply in a response, and they'll be listed at the end of the response. Always they are a hyperlink, and when you click on the hyperlink, then if you have already logged in, then you'll be taken directly to the hyperlink, or to the job aid. So in this case, this is in ServiceNow, and I'm at the hyperlink at the job aid page, and I'm able to open it there. Another way, if you happen to know the job aid that the number of the job aid you're looking for, and now I've clicked into the type here box at the bottom of the Fizzbot window, and if I know that I remember the number, but I don't, and I want to look at job aid 189, for example, I simply can type JA 189. And I'm taken straight to that job aid. And so from at any time for any of the job aids, I can access them quickly here from within Fizzbot.
Okay, Brett, thanks very much for that. We'd like to let everybody know that if you have some questions for Brett, now would be a good time to send them in. I do have some questions that we have. Brett, let me start with this one. Here it asks, should I click through the Fizzbot options or just type in my question?
That's something we get asked a lot. I know the natural tendency is to want to just type in the question. and you can do that. However, at this point, we really encourage and are having the most success. Users are having the greatest success clicking through the hierarchy, as we call it. That's, you can do both, but we encourage using the hierarchy.
Right, because doing that, then obviously you'll be exposed to everything that's available.
That's right. And it just, in time, the free-form search will get better, but at this point, the hierarchy is it's definitely the most robust way to get to the content that's available.
Okay, we have a question from one of the viewers. It says, does this work for all BUs now? I just typed in AR job aid and got a message that said, I'm having trouble connecting to the server. Please refresh the page. I don't know if that has anything to do with FizzBot or perhaps their computer, but that was the question that was sent in.
Yeah, so if they need to refresh the page, that so it cut out a little bit in the video that we just watched, but if you launch FizzBot and then don't use it for 5 minutes or more, it disconnects from IBM Watson. So you need to refresh the window and ask the question again.
Okay, well, that's good to know too. And I also want to let everyone know that I know that some of the audio was cutting out, and as always, that presentation, the demonstration, will be put up on our Fiscal YouTube page, so you can find it there as soon as that's posted. Another question is, I clicked through the FizzBot hierarchy, but none of the responses answered my question. What should I do? Yeah,
that's a really good question and an important one to explain, because what we want everyone to know is that there is logging going on behind the scenes. So IBM Watson, which is artificial intelligence, is logging all of that information, and we are developing now analytics that will help as we go forward to fine-tune and make FizzBot continue to just get better and better. But to do that, we need to capture all those questions. So I know it's not satisfying to the users who may enter a question or get to the end of the line and not find the answer they want, but enter the question anyway, because that's data that we can then use going forward to continue to improve FizzBot.
And what happens to a question that FizzBot cannot answer?
Yeah, so it's logged as long as the user enters that question. And I've been working this morning. I was working on some of our first analytics, identifying those kind of questions, and armed with that, we'll be pulling that information into the ongoing maintenance and operation of FizzBot, and that to improve the content that we do have.
And so here's another question: who do I contact if I find a mistake in FizzBot? I didn't think FizzBot could make mistakes, but who would if someone found a mistake, who would they contact?
So the Fiscal Service Center. If you submit, just send them an email. Then I will end up with that information.
Okay. We have a question from a viewer here. It says, does FizzBot have the capability to address hard stop and I'm sorry, I don't understand this, so it says hard stop POR warning messages. Does that make sense to you?
It doesn't, but I'm sure there's a subject matter expert out there somewhere that could help.
Well,
it sounds like it's perhaps a very specific issue.
Well, I think we're trying to get clarification here. If I read it this way, does it help? Does FizzBot have the capability to address hard stop or warning messages? Does that help out at all?
We do have, in each module, we don't address all of the issues and errors that might ever pop up. We've started with just the common ones. So again, in each module, there's a subsection that's just issues and errors, and you know, it could be that is answered in one of the modules. It doesn't sound too familiar to me, but that's a good example of a question to look for. And ultimately, if you don't find it as you navigate through the hierarchy where it should be, at that point, go ahead and type in your exact question, and it will be then logged and will work its way into the list of things we need to look at.
Okay. So this person said they got lost in the FizzBot hierarchy. How do they get back to the original options?
Yeah, that's good to know. If you refresh the screen, it takes you back to the very beginning. That's probably the quickest and easiest way to do that.
Okay. And then also, we spoke about job aids earlier. This question, I've heard that there is a quick way to access job aids. I know you spoke a little about it in your demo from FizzBot. What is it? How is it done?
Yeah, so if you type in job aid and a space and the number, you have to know the number at this point. Eventually, we'll expand that so you could enter and just search for job aids. But the shortcut is you type the real shortcut, type JA space and the number, and that will open a new window. Or if you already have logged into service, right to that job aid in ServiceNow.
Right, and this next question is probably could have read both of these at the same time. It says, when I click on a job aid in FizzBot, I am just taken to the ServiceNow login screen. How do I view the actual job aid?
Yeah, so you have to log in, just like anytime you want to view the job aids, you have to log into ServiceNow. But once you've done that, you just have to do it once. And then as long as that session is still active, you'll be taken right to the job aid.
All right, and we have another question from a viewer. I don't know if this will be up your alley or not, but let's try. Understanding Fiscal is a predominantly accounting-based system. It seems budget references, aids are limited or non-existent. Will there be any added in the near future, or have I missed where they are?
Budget references. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not much of an accountant either.
Okay, so I tell you what, this is
I tell you what, I work with some amazing subject matter experts. Seriously, if there's you can also send emails to me if you have comments or improvements, ideas for FizzBot. Send them to the Service Center or send them to me directly.
Right, and we will take this question and get it to someone who can get an answer out to that individual. Another question is, I know you spoke about modules. What's the next module that will be added to FizzBot, and when might that be?
Yeah, so we are working on project costing right now, and it will be available in probably 2 to 3 weeks. Following that, we've got a number of them lined up: GL, AM, LD, and yeah, so they'll be coming out fairly frequently now over the next several months.
And then the final question that looks like we have is, how often is the content in FizzBot updated?
Good question. Right now, we're in the mode that every time you release a new module, that's an opportunity for updates or additions to also be made in other modules. So we're in something like every 3 or 4 weeks, there may be some updates. However, the model that we are working towards, ultimately, we will actually be able to update daily. And the idea being that FizzBot would be the initial place that changes or updates would be made, followed by the more formal documentation items that maybe take longer to produce. But FizzBot would be the way for us to rapidly communicate and have the latest information available. And we're working towards a format where we'll be able to do that.
All right, we just had another question sent in. Is it possible to implement an app for FizzBot anytime soon?
I don't know about anytime soon, but it is possible.
So obviously with something like this, it's ongoing and you guys are improving on it as much as possible and whenever you can. So as you said with job aids, I know people have asked me, can I just type in job aids as opposed to just typing in the number? And I know when you and I have had conversations about it, you said that that's something that you guys are trying to get together.
Well, if you type JA space and the number, then it'll open up the job aid.
Right.
Having other ways to search, maybe by the title of the job aid, or having a list of all the job aids. There's a number of different ways that we could enable finding job aids. We've implemented some, and the shortcut method was something that we were able to do very quickly and easily, and so we went ahead and did that.
Okay, and then we have another question, again, about job aids. It says, it tends to be a little difficult to locate the appropriate job aid. Is there any way to make them more user-friendly? Now, I know that as far as FizzBot is concerned, you just basically addressed that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't know, it's not the perfect answer, but we reference job aids anywhere it makes sense to us in the responses. So in one sense, we're helping, but if I understand the question, it's more how to find information in amongst all the job aids, and we don't do that right now, but hopefully in the future we could support something like that.
Yeah, and all the job aids are available on the Fiscal website, so you can always go there to locate them. Brett, we'd like to thank you for being with us today. Thanks for all the great information, and certainly appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Jim. Really glad to join you.
Great. Okay, we'd like to just sort of wrap it up here. I have a few announcements that I'd like to share with you. A new Fiscal announcement tile has been added to the Fiscal system homepage, giving end users another way of staying up to date on the latest system-related communications and information. Using the tile, department users can see and access notifications on system news, changes, updates, and system issues that are pertinent to their particular roles in the Fiscal system. Through the Fiscal announcement tile, end users can select the module information they want to be displayed and set user preferences to only show the types of notifications they want. This idea came out of the Southern California Imagine Fiscal event, and we hope users will find it helpful. Finally, we also want to let you know that the technical problems we were experiencing with the Focus newsletter on the Fiscal website have been resolved. You no longer need to wait a few minutes before clicking on the links that get in your email box each month to read the articles. Focus is a great way to get up to speed on system enhancements, read messages from leadership, and gain lots of other valuable information from Fiscal. We hope you will check it out. Look for those emails near the start of every month, and the Focus newsletter is always available on the main fiscal.ca.gov website under News and Events. That's it for today. Once again, I apologize that my camera is not working. My little blue light is on, but the picture, for some reason, just does not want to work. We appreciate your patience with all of our little technical glitches. Once again, I'd like to thank Stacy Meza and Brett Millett for joining us, and we would hope you would take the little questionnaire at the end of the show. As always, it helps us to help bring you a better show. Again, thank you. We hope everybody stays safe, and we will see you next time on Fiscal TV.